Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, folks. Hey, everyone. My name is Brad Varnell. This is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. And guys, today is an important day. I'm super excited about today's topic. It's going to be a little bit of a Monday mindset, but we're also going to get into some tokens and some exciting things and really, hopefully, go over some things that help all of us take that next step towards financial freedom. But the topic that we're going to be hitting on for a couple of minutes, folks, is how to stop sabotaging yourself. And I know that we've talked about this a little bit before, but I want to dive in deeper. I watched about 11 minutes of a video yesterday that is roughly, I don't even know how long the video is. It's probably a 50-minute video. And I literally just put the link to that video right here in the channel. And I'm so tempted to just tell you all, hey, go watch this video today instead of us doing this live stream. Go take the next hour of your life that you were going to spend here with me and go watch this video. But I want to tee up the video a little bit before we do it. But I'm telling you, this is going to be a shorter live stream, famous last words, right? And I hope that if I can do nothing else but to sell you guys on the importance of watching this video yourself, then I have done my job today. Guys, one of my mentors told me a long time ago that he would rather trust a short pencil over a long memory every day of the week. So if you're not driving or working out in the gym, if you're sitting someplace where you actually can have a pad of paper and a pen, I highly encourage you to grab it and to take some notes today. And with that, let's get into it. You know, love all of you guys. It's the day before Thanksgiving. Super excited to be here with you. And for all of you that celebrate Thanksgiving, I want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you get an opportunity to spend some valuable time with loved ones tomorrow and really pour into the people that you care about and just get to, you know, soak that up. When I think back on my life, I don't think back, fondly. I don't sit here and daydream about like the most money that I ever made in a day or the most money I ever made in a week or the most money I ever made in a month. When I'm daydreaming, you know where my mind takes me? I think about the trips that we went to the Exuma, Bahamas, one of which was super special. I got to take my dad and my mom and my son and my wife to Exuma, Bahamas a few short years ago. And that place has a special place in my heart, but memories come back. I was watching on Facebook the other day, it would be one of my cousin's sons. Holy smokes. So I have a cousin named Mike. He has a son named Garrett who has a son named Caleb. And anyways, Caleb is a young little feller, probably, I want to say he's maybe 6-7 years old. And Garrett took some videos of him playing football, flag football. And man, that hit me hard. For any of you parents that have young kids and, you know, and they do sports and stuff, what amazing memories you are creating. So for me, man, I played flag football and my dad was there for every single game. And one of the cool things that my dad did, this might sound kind of crazy to you guys, but I'm telling you, your kids will love it. This is 46 years later, and I'm thinking about this right now, and I almost want to cry, but we would be in my dad's pickup truck, and he would play some music, like polka music that was, you know, upbeat and bouncing and stuff, and then he would like create scenarios, and he would say like to the music. So the music would be maybe kind of slow, like dun 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 dun. And like during these slow times, my dad would say, and Brad Varnell, you know, Brad got the ball and he's going down the sideline and he's looking for a hole, and then all of a sudden the music would pick up, and it'd go bump 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 or whatever my dad would say, and Brad makes his cut, and he heads down the sideline, and he fakes this guy out, and he fakes that guy out, and blah blah blah, and touchdown at the end of it. It usually take 30 seconds, a minute or two, but I'll never forget those moments. And watching Caleb play flag football reminded me of so many good times with my dad when I was a little kid playing flag football. So, guys, I know that we're on this channel here today to figure out ways to improve our life financially, but the whole reason for that is so that we can create these memories. And so I also remember, Christmas back, when I was a little kid, we would always go to my grandmother's house on my dad's side, and we would have Christmas. And all my dad had 3 brothers and a sister. So there was 5 of them total. So all 5 of the siblings, all of my aunts and uncles and all of my cousins would go to my grandmother's house. And unfortunately, she passed away when I was about 12 years old, or we'd have been going to her house for as long as she'd lived. But anyways, for those first 12 years of my life, I remember going to my grandmother's house on Christmas and seeing all my uncles and cousins and people that I hadn't seen. My point is, don't just take tomorrow for granted. Don't just make it just another day. Don't just make it about an hour or two of eating some food that you don't normally eat. Really, really enjoy the people that you're with and love them. And open them up, ask them questions about their childhood, talk to them about things that they're interested in, and really soak up tomorrow and make tomorrow a day where 5, 10, 30 years from now, something reminds you of today or tomorrow. And that's a special memory in your life, like some of the special memories that I just shared with you. So let's get into it. Hopefully you guys all have a notebook, a pen, and are ready to go. I want you to write down desires on one side of the page. On the left-hand side of the page, I want you to write down desires. And then on the right-hand side of the page, I want you to write expectations. And the reason I'm going to share this screen here a little bit, not to distract you, but I really do want to share this with you. So I have talked about Myron Golden a little bit before. Literally, guys, see, look at this. You can see I quit at about 11 and a half minutes. I quit watching this video and I started sharing it with people. In fact, if you're part of my Texitcoin business, I have shared it with you already, or I probably will be sharing it with you, because the first thing that he talks about 8-9 minutes in, and from the 8-minute mark to about the 11-minute mark, he talks about desires and expectations, guys. And so seriously, this video is going to be one of the best videos you've ever watched. I hope and pray that you guys decide to watch this video after we're done here. And that's part of the reason I don't want to do a super long video today. I want to give some of you some time. You're normally with me for an hour or so. I want to give you some time to at least get started in this video. But it says right here, sometimes the biggest war you'll ever fight isn't out there, it's inside of you. In this powerful teaching, Myron Golden breaks down the 7 internal conflicts that sabotage your progress. And then down here a little bit lower, it says you'll learn the hidden mental battles that quietly block your success, how fear, doubt, and indecision create emotional civil war, why your identity determines the battles that you fight, and a couple other things. So once again, I can't stress enough that the main thing I'm trying to do is to get you to watch that video, because this gentleman is a much better teacher than I am. And he's much more successful than I've been. And he's got an incredible business, an incredible family, incredible life that he has been able to be blessed with. And it's because of all of these things that he knows and all of the work that he's done. But let's go back to desires and expectations, guys. And one of the things that hit me like a ton of bricks, and I hope that this causes some awareness for you, We all have desires. You have desires right now. If I was to ask you to write down what some of your desires are, I'm sure you could go to town and you could write down 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, I don't know, but most of you could write down at least 2, 3, 4, 5 desires. What's a desire? Well, you get started in a new business and you desire for it to be successful. You desire for it to be a blessing in your life and to create financial freedom. You're investing in crypto. What do you desire? You desire to find some of those 10, 20, 50, 100 X's. You desire to take an amount of money that you're comfortable risking, and you desire to turn that into life-changing money. You're on a weight loss journey. You've been overweight and out of shape. You're 50 pounds overweight and have been for 5 or 10 or 20 years, and you desire to lose that weight and to get into shape and to look good. Maybe you desire a better relationship with your kids. You desire a better relationship with your wife. There's a million things. You desire, a 2025 Jeep Rubicon. You desire, you've got a car that you'd really like to own. Maybe you're living in a 3-bedroom, 1 or 2 bathroom house, and you desire to be able to move into a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house because your family's expanded. Whatever, you've all got desires. But this is interesting, guys. This hit me like a ton of bricks. Your desires will never outperform your expectations. So if you've got desires and you've got expectations, your expectations are always going to win. And I would recommend, if you've taken the time to grab a notebook and a pen, write that down. Between your desires and your expectations are always going to win. I'm going to give you a quick example from Texit Coin. So I have had 100 plus people join Texit Coin. Almost all of them desire to benefit from the referral program. They love having the miner. They love the tokens that it's spitting off, and they love that aspect of the business. But all of them, not all of them, but most of them wish that they had a affiliate business that was going along with it. But guess what? Most of the people that join my Texit Coin business have a desire to make $50,000 in 3 months like I have, but their expectation is that isn't going to happen. So they might desire to have a successful Texit Coin business. They don't expect to have a Texit Coin business. And guess what happens? Every single one of those people that has jumped into Texit Coin and they have the expectation of, I'm not going to be able to bring anybody in. I'm not going to be able to find anybody that's interested in Texit Coin. And they start saying stuff like, I don't know anybody that's got $1,000. All of my friends are scared of crypto. Man, it's the holidays and money is tight. And I could go on and on and on. My point is, it's a perfect example of desire versus expectation. And once again, the most important part of this whole talk, guys, is expectation wins every single time over your desires. So you can have all the desires in the world that you want, all of these big goals and dreams and things that you wish you had. And if your expectations don't align and your expectation is that you can't do it, that it's not going to work for you, you're going to be right. And I'm here to tell you, I'm going to use Texit Coin as the example. The biggest difference between me and other people in Texit Coin is that I'm surprised when somebody says they're not interested. I'm shocked. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't understand why anybody would say no. Whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong is besides the point. That's my expectation. Somebody else, I go talk to 10 people and I'm thinking that all 10 of them are going to join, they're going to jump in. They're going to want to buy at least one miner. You go talk to 10 people and you're like almost have a heart attack shocked when somebody says yes. Like, you know that these 10 people are going to say no before you even go talk to them. But you got Brad over here, you know, rah, 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 and pumping you up. And you're like almost embarrassed if you don't talk to some people. So even though you're pretty sure they're all going to say no, you go talk to a few people, because I'm telling you, hey, you got to share this with people. And then all 10 of them say no. And guess what you do? You come back to me and say, just like I told you, Brad, none of my friends got any money. None of my friends are interested in crypto. None of my friends, blah, 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 blah. But you can do this with anything in life. You can do this with your cryptocurrency investing. You want this, and this to come out of your cryptocurrency investing. But what is your expectation on the other side of the page? Do you expect to get liquidated every time you make a trade? Are you one of those people? Have you ever said, man, you know, trading isn't for me. Every time I trade, as soon as I put in a long, the market goes short. As soon as I put in a short, the market goes long. I'm going to put in this trade today, but I bet you it gets liquidated. Like, guys, you don't understand how you are sabotaging yourself when it comes to what you want out of life, because your expectations suck. You know, that's just the truth. I might sound like a little bit of an ass today, but most of you, your expectations suck. You got crummy expectations. You want this, and this to happen. But when it comes to what you're expecting to happen, it's the exact opposite. Guys, your expectations are going to win out over your desires every single time. And if for some reason you get lucky and all of a sudden your desires are, you get lucky and you hit, you know, I mean, if you're invested in crypto long enough, you're going to get lucky and probably hit a 25, 50, 100x. But guess what you're going to do? You're going to take that $500 that you just turned into 50 grand. And because your expectation is that you're not going to be financially independent, that something bad is going to happen, there's going to be an emergency that comes up and you're going to need the money for that, or blah, 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 you're going to go back down to that level of expectation that you have. So even if you get lucky and you make it and you create some of the desires in your life, if your expectations suck, your desire, you will come back down to where your expectations are. And so I'm going to click back over here to this screen again. And I really want you guys to take this to heart. How to stop sabotaging yourself. Sometimes the biggest war you'll ever fight isn't out there, it's inside of you. And I think we've all heard that saying that your worst enemy in the world is you. Like, most people have heard that, and most people would agree with it, that the biggest enemy you have in your life is you. Yeah, there's some of us that, you know, or some of you that might have some outside external circumstances that are pretty powerful too. But when it really comes to your life, your biggest enemy in most people's cases is yourself. And if you can't learn to win the war with yourself, you're never going to win the war in life. It starts with winning the war in this 6 inches here between your ears. And hopefully today's talk will open up some ideas and some new things. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm saying in yourself. It doesn't matter whether you're building a real estate business. It doesn't, like, how much success do you think a realtor is going to have if they go get their realtor's license and then they tell, you know, their expectation is, well, nobody that I know wants to buy a house. Nobody that I know can afford to buy a house. Nobody that I know I don't know, most of the people that I know don't live in my area. So I can't even talk to most of the people that I know about buying a house because they live in a different state. So how in the world am I going to sell any houses? And it seems crazy that somebody would go through all of the work to get licensed as a real estate, as a realtor, and then have those expectations. But it happens all day long. It happens in everything. How many people have gone all the way through law school and got there, became a lawyer, and then they're like, man, I'm not any good at marketing. I don't think I can't get any clients. Like they struggle trying to find clients, and they tell themselves this story of, well, none of the people I know can afford a lawyer. None of the people that I know do anything wrong and they don't need a lawyer. None of the people that I know, blah, 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 blah. Like this story in our heads. You got to get rid of this stupid story in your head that's telling you that you're not enough. This story that's telling you that nobody you know is going to be interested in buying a house or buying a Texacoin miner or becoming a client of your law firm. It's a bunch of baloney. The other thing, guys, is you got to figure out what you need in life. I guarantee you, Eric, are you still here? Bernstein, if you're still here, yeah, Eric is here. Eric, are you still here? Mr. Bernstein, can you let me know in the chat if you are still here? If you are, let me know. I've got a question for you. Is there anybody else here that owns a business? Does anybody watching the show own any type of a business, whether it's a car detailing business or a roofing business or a landscaping business, or in Eric's case, he's a realtor? Is there anybody that owns a business watching this live stream? If you are here and you own any type of a business, please, okay, Eric is here. Let me ask you a question, Eric. You're a realtor. You're in real estate. If you could only sell houses to your friends and family that you knew before you became a realtor, would you have been able to be successful in real estate? Or did you get out of your comfort zone and find ways to meet new people and to create a bigger network so that you had more people that you could list their homes and that you could sell their homes for? I'm just curious, like, how dependent on you are you on your friends and family in order to sell houses, in order to make a living for your family? Is a lot of the money that you have coming into your household from real estate based on your friends and family, or is it based on the network that you created after you became a real estate agent? Give him a quick second to answer this. I would go out on a limb here while he's trying to, figure out how he wants to answer. I would go out on a limb and say, I bet you Eric lets everybody that he knows know that he's a real estate agent. He could be pumping gas at a gas station and lock eyes with a stranger, and maybe they have a quick little conversation about, the weather and sports and stuff like that. And I bet you a lot of times he probably ends up, working in the fact that he's a realtor into the conversation, and he wants everybody that he knows in the world to know that he's a realtor, and that if they might not need to buy a house right now, but Eric understands that most people, if they don't own a home right now, probably sometime in the next year or 2 or 5 are going to want to own homes. So he gets to know them, and he creates a network. He builds trust with them so that a year from now, they decide they want to buy a home. They think of him and they come and ask him to help them buy a home. He branches out. And so that's another big part of this. Like, guys, if you own your own business and you talk to your 5 or 10 closest friends and family members, and they're not interested in supporting your business, you can't quit. Like, it's amazing to me how many people have these desires and they're willing to go work at a job for 40, 50 hours a week that they know they're never going to get their desires. They're going to get their bills paid and they're going to be able to eat, but they're never going to be able to get their desires. They're living the settle for life. They're settling for the car that they're driving. They're settling for the house that they have. They're settling for mediocre vacations that don't happen anywhere near as often. But now they start their own business, their own side hustle, whatever it is. Maybe they become a realtor. Maybe they, maybe you start, a secondhand business. Like, I know lots of people that buy stuff on the weekends, like garage sales, and then sell it. Whatever it might be, It's amazing to me how often these people have these big desires. They'll get excited. They'll get excited about their Texas coin business, and then they'll go talk to 3, 4, 5 people, and they all say, no, that's stupid. And then they quit. They tuck their tails in between their legs and they run away, and they come back to me and they say, I don't know anybody that's got $1,000. Everybody that I know doesn't like crypto. Well, guess what? There's 8 billion people on this planet that you don't know. And there's 8 billion people that Eric can sell houses to that he doesn't know. And so Eric didn't let the fact that his own friends and family weren't ready to buy houses or sell houses when he became a realtor. He didn't quit. He didn't give up. He didn't say, hey, I guess being a realtor isn't for me. I can't find anybody that wants to buy a house. I mean, it sounds silly, right? Like if you think about it, who in the world would go through all that work to become a realtor? And then after they talk to their 5 or 10 friends, and none of those people are in the market to buy a home, that would cause them to quit. That's something else, real quick. It's a little bit of a side note, but guys, if Eric's 10 closest friends and family members told him they're not ready to buy a house, that doesn't mean they're not interested in buying a house from them eventually. So with any type of a business, you're going to get a lot of not nows, and you can't let the not nows make you crawl, get down on the ground and crawl into a fertile position. And oh my God, nobody wants to buy a home from me. Nobody wants to sell a home. I mean, like, seriously, can you imagine if Eric went to his mom and dad and said, hey guys, if you want to sell your home, I want to list it for you. I'm your son. And so I hope that if you sell your home, you would want to list it through me. And his parents say, yeah, well, of course we would list it through you, but we love our home and we don't want to move. Can you imagine Eric telling them, well, guys, you got to move. You got to let me list your house. I need the commission. You got to sell your house. I don't, like, that would be crazy, right? But what's even crazier is if Eric went back home and he told his wife, hey, I'm not going to be a realtor because my mom and dad, they don't want to sell their home. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but I'm telling you guys, people do this stuff all day long in a lot of different areas. I've got people on my Texas Coin team that have talked to 5 people, and those 5 people weren't interested in buying a Texas Coin miner right now. And so they quit. Let me ask another person. Dave P., are you here? Are you on the call, Dave? Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I know Dave was here at one point in time. Are you still listening in? Dave, if you're here, let us know you're still here. And as I expected, look at this. Eric said, got to branch out. It's all about networking. And, there's probably a little bit of that probably, gets you a little bit outside of your comfort zone, I'm guessing, right, Eric? Okay, Dave is here. Dave, let me ask you a question. How many times in the last 3 months since I started Texas Coin have I asked you if you wanted to buy a miner? What's your best guess? How many times have you told me, no, you're not ready? You don't got to go back through our conversation and add it up, but how many times? I would say like 5 times. There you go. See, Dave is going to buy a miner. He just doesn't know it yet. But eventually, at some point in time, Dave is going to buy a miner. Dave's never really said absolutely no. He's just said not now. What a lot of people do in life is they take a not now and they turn it into a never. And that's another important thing, but that's all about sabotaging yourself. That's all about your expectation. My expectation is that Dave P. is going to own a Texas Coin miner before all 1 million of them are sold out. I don't know if he's going to own one tomorrow. I don't know if he's going to own one in a week or a month or 3 months. But at some point in time, Dave P. is going to see see what I see, and I believe at some point in time Dave P is going to buy a miner. Now we'll find out. I could be wrong about that, and now that I said that, he might be like, oh no way, I'm never buying a miner now. But I'm telling you, my expectation, I love Dave. I got a lot of respect for Dave. I believe that Texit Coin Miner would be a blessing in his life. And I'm going to continue to share it with him until he basically tells me, hey, get lost, Brad. I have zero interest. I'm never going to have any interest. And if you don't quit mentioning Texit Coin Miners to me, I'm leaving the YouTube channel. Then at that point, I might leave him alone. I might not. I might keep bugging him until he leaves the YouTube channel. But I'm telling you, my expectation is that Dave P is going to own a miner. I just don't know when. But my point is, in anything in life, you can't go out and share something new that you're doing. If everybody is used to you being an electrician, and now all of a sudden you're coming and talking to them about this side hustle of yours, whatever it might be, it's going to be a little different for them. It's going to be a little weird. They're going to be like, man, this guy's an electrician. He's trying to talk to me about cryptocurrency. So you guys got to get over that initial pain of the 5 or 10 people that you love the most not being interested. They're not saying no. They're basically just saying not yet. And I've had a bunch of people, I'll go back to Texit Coin because that's what I've been working on for the last 3 months. But I've got a lot of people that weren't interested when I got started in August that have joined in the last couple of weeks. Why? For one thing, they see me sticking with it. So some of you might have the shiny object syndrome where you're talking to them about something today that didn't work out. Everybody said no. 2 weeks later, you're talking to them about something else. And then a month later, you're in this. And a month later, you're in that. So, 4 or 5 times that you've talked to them about something later, they don't really trust that you're going to stick with anything. And they don't want to jump in. But guess what? Month goes by, 2 months goes by, 3 months goes by, and you're still plugging along, doing what you're doing. You still, every once in a while, you show them your little tree that is growing, or whatever you're doing in business that it's actually working, that it's growing. And like with Texit Coin, I just subtly share the price of Texit Coin with people every once in a while. And just kind of like I was showing you guys, yesterday or the day before, how Texit Coin since August is actually up from 280 something a token up to 350 or so a token in the last 3 months. And if you go look at cryptocurrency since August 22nd till now, there's very few tokens that are at a higher price today than they were in August. It's almost zero. Texit Coin is one of the very, very few tokens that actually has appreciated in price over the last 3 months. You start sharing that stuff with people, you don't quit. And once again, I'm using Texit Coin as an example, but I'm talking to you guys about what you want to do with your life. I know that Texit Coin is not going to be everybody's, piece of pie. But whatever it is that you want in life, you're going to go through all the same struggles. Like, it's almost identical whether you decide to jump into Texit Coin and build the affiliate side, or if you decided to open an automotive garage, or you decided to open, a landscaping business, or you decided to create a house cleaning business. Is all going to be the same challenges. And so much for this being short. We're 40 minutes in. So hopefully you guys got a little bit of value out of this. And once again, we'll go back to the main point. Your expectations are going to dominate your desires every single time. If you have desires and you have expectations, your expectations are going to win. So I am not a foremost authority expert on how to change your expectations. I'm still working on that part of my life. And I realized that part of the reason that I haven't won as big in my life as I should have by now is that my expectations have been winning out over my desires. And so I'm not here to really be able to share with you how to fix the problem. Because just knowing that your expectations are going to win out over your desires, that's half the battle. But you still got a battle, right? Like, if you know you got, 25 people coming after you, the battle is getting ready to happen. There's going to be a battle. You still got to do the work to figure out how to win the battle. How do you go from this one guy that's getting ready to get, attacked by 25 people? How do you protect yourself? What's your strategy? What do you got to do? There is a battle. He talks about it right here. Again, you guys can't see this, but sometimes the biggest war you'll ever fight isn't out there. It's inside of you. So I can give you a couple of ideas on how to fight the battle. One of the things that you can do is affirmations. You've all probably heard this before, but 99% of the population isn't willing to do it. Go stand in front of a mirror and work yourself into an excited state of mind, and then start talking about some of the things that you want. I am a crypto millionaire. I am is two of the most important words in the whole world. I am followed by whatever sentence you say is powerful. I am going to make $20,000 a month with Texacoin. I am going to sell, 27 houses this year in my real estate business. I am going to make 6 figures for the first time in 2026. I am. But you can't do it for one day or 2 days or even 2 weeks or 2 months. You have to consistently program your mind to have these positive expectations. Everyone is going to want to buy a Texas coin miner from me. I'm going to be astonished when people tell me no. You got to start going into these sales calls. You have to go into these networking events, whatever you're doing. Like I say, when Eric goes and talks to somebody, he's not going in saying, well, I'm probably wasting my time today, but I'm going to go ahead. I got this stupid appointment, so I'm going to show up and show these people this house. They probably ain't going to be interested. And even if they are interested, with my luck, they're going to love the house, but they ain't going to have the money to buy it. And, and then even if they got the money to buy it, they ain't got good enough credit scores and blah, blah, blah. That's not what Eric does. I promise you. And once again, I know it sounds silly to you guys, but most of you, that's what you're doing in your life with the things that you want to accomplish. You're not going into it with the right expectations. So one of the things that you can do is get with better teachers than me. And this gentleman, Myron Golden here, this link, I would say, is an amazing place to start. So if any of this has hit home, and if any of you are watching this and you're like, wow, how did Brad know that? Well, the reason I knew it was because it happens to me all the time. And it happens to almost everybody. Most people have no idea that the reason that they're not getting the things that they want out of life, the reason that they're not getting their desires, is because their expectations are all screwed up. So like I say, awareness is half the battle. Now you got the awareness. Now go watch this video. But don't just watch this video. Really watch it. Don't have it on in the background with your kids and, and TV on, and watch this video like your life depended on it, and take notes. And then get ready to watch the video that he does next week. If you don't like him, go find somebody else that you do like that talks about similar things. There's a lot of good people that talk about this mindset, the difference between your desires and your expectations. But this would be an incredible place to start if you want to put yourself in a position to where your expectations start taking you to where you want to go, because you'll be surprised. It's almost like a miracle. You won't even believe it when you get your expectation right and you go talk to that person, and your expectation is that they're going to get excited and they're going to be interested. All of a sudden they are. And the only thing that changed was your expectation, because guys, there's a frequency in life. Now I want to give you a quick example. I'm going to give you two. If you were to walk up to a girl, and for you single guys out there, and you're interested, and maybe you've got a coworker, you've got somebody, that a little bit, that you've been thinking about asking out on a date, but in your mind, you're telling yourself this story over and over and over that they're not going to be interested in you. Oh, I'm too short. Oh, I'm too tall. I'm too skinny. I'm too fat. I don't make enough money. I don't have enough hair. You're telling yourself this story. Your desire is that you'd like this lady to go out on a date with you. You'd like to get to know her better. That's your desire. But your expectation is that she's not going to be interested. She's going to say no. She's this, and this. If that's your expectation, 90% of you won't even ever go ask her. So number one, your expectation screws up your life because you never even try. But number two, can you imagine if you walk up to this girl and you're like, hey, I'd really, Stephanie, do you, I know you're probably going to say no, but would you want to go out to dinner with me maybe sometime next week? Dude, Stephanie is going to tell you no. She is. And it's your own fault. If you walked up to Stephanie and you said, hey, Stephanie, I've been wanting to tell you something. I really like you. I've really enjoyed the time that we've spent together here, and I would love to take you out to dinner next week. What day's best for you, Tuesday or Thursday? Stephanie's going to pick a day, and you're going to be out on a date with Stephanie next week. And maybe in a month or 6 or a year or two, you're going to be married to Stephanie, and you're going to have a beautiful family. But it was all because you had the right expectation. You got to go up to Stephanie believing that you are worthy of Stephanie and that Stephanie is going to be excited to go out on a date with you. And the only difference between the guy that goes and gets the date and the guy that doesn't is their expectation. Here's another one. At networking events, Eric probably can vouch for this to a certain extent. If you were to meet somebody and you talk to them for a little bit, and then at the end of the conversation, you want to get their phone number. There's a lot of you out there, and I know it's probably everybody out there, not just some of you. Everybody out there has a little bit of a resistance to asking people for their phone number until you've done it a little bit, until you understand that it's totally normal. You're like at a networking event. But guys, seriously, can you imagine? So you've met this person, and you know, now it's getting time to, head in a different direction. And you say this to them. You say, hey, Eric, it was nice meeting you. And would you mind giving me your phone number? Dude, Eric's going to think you're a creep. He's like, you feel almost bad about asking Eric for his phone number. You're giving off this weird vibe. You're basically saying, would it be okay? Do you think, is it okay if I get your phone number, Eric? Dude, Eric is going to tell you, no, sorry, but here's my business card and my email's on it. Eric is not giving you his phone number. But if you've been talking to Eric and you've been having a good conversation, at the end of it, you just say, hey, this is what I do. I pull up my phone and I literally just say, hey, Eric, man, it was great meeting you. I'd love to stay connected. What's your phone number? And I literally pull up my phone with my keypad and I say, hey, Eric, what's your phone number? And 100 out of 100 times, what does Eric do? He says, oh, yeah, it's 421-376-9287. And I'm typing that in. And then once I've got it typed in, I hit the call button and I say, here you go, Eric, that's my number, and I'll shoot you a text. But guys, it's all about desire versus expectation. Your desire is you met Eric. He's sharp. He's a realtor. You would like to stay connected to him. Your desire is you want his phone number. But your expectation is that Eric is going to feel weird about giving you his phone number. Guys, we're not 14 anymore. Like, Eric is not worried about you prank calling him at 3 o'clock in the morning and going, Eric. I mean, seriously, like, why wouldn't Eric want to give you his phone number? But most of you, including me, when I first started asking for people's phone numbers, I was almost shocked when it worked. But somebody told me this same thing I'm telling you guys right now. If you ask for somebody's phone number with an expectation that they're going to feel weird and uncomfortable and not want to give it to you, you're going to be right. And if you ask with the expectation that it's the most normal thing in the world and that Eric is going to be excited to give you his phone number, you're going to be right, guys. I'm telling you, it's the simplest thing in the world, but sometimes it's the hardest. Like, all you have to do to totally transform your life is to have better expectations. And, and I think Eric, can vouch for what I'm saying here. Eric understands. Eric doesn't, when he meets somebody that might be, when Eric meets somebody that might have a house on the market soon or might be in the market to buy a house, he doesn't say, well, gosh, guys, I'm a realtor and, I don't know if you'd be comfortable or not, but I'd really like to get your phone number if that's okay. I promise you, that is not how Eric would handle that situation. Eric would say, oh, that's awesome. Well, man, I would love for you to keep me on the top of your mind. If you do decide to list that house, I would love to help you. What's your phone number so that we can stay in touch? And he pulls out his phone while he's saying that, and they give him the phone number. I mean, even if they were normally uncomfortable giving phone numbers, when you just ask for it with such confidence and you pull out your phone and they're going to give you the phone number, they give you the phone number every single time. So guys, I've been talking for a long time now. I don't know who this helped. I don't know if it helped anybody. It helped me. And I know that these little things are so important in the long-term success of your life. These are the kind of things that you want to be teaching your kids. Like, seriously, if you want your son, daughter to grow up confident, you want them to be able to ask those types of questions. You want your boy, when he meets that 14-year-old girl that he has a crush on, to be able to talk to her and ask her for her phone number, to be able to say, hey, what do you think? This Saturday, would you like to go see the new movie that's coming out? That's an important trait to have. If you can have those skills early in life, they will translate into your business and into your relationships as an adult. So you want to teach these things to your kids. If I were you and I had a child that was old enough to understand any of these concepts, which I believe most kids, probably from about 8 years on, if you simplify this, would understand they've got the desires in their life and they've got expectations. And I think it's something that is so valuable and so important to teach the younger generation. And so I hope you guys got some value out of this. What are we going to talk about crypto-wise, guys? I talked about this for 53 minutes. Does anybody got anything in crypto crypto that they want to talk about? I'm going to pop back over here real fast. Like, in so many ways, crypto has just been so rough lately that it's almost not even exactly sure what to say when it comes to crypto, what the best advice to give you guys is. Hey, even Dave right here says, Brad, never say never. So Dave's halfway agreeing with me that at some point in time, he's probably going to end up with a miner. But so here's CoinGecko. The good news is, since we talked yesterday on the Trader Tuesday, Bitcoin has rallied all the way up to over 89,000. The two trades that we put in play here, so you can see the top two, if you can see them, are still in the red. But they've gone down significantly. And the two trades that we placed yesterday, they're not like changing the world, beating, world beater trades, but they're both up by about, $9-10, which is 8 or 9%. So they're up 8 or 9% in the last, 24 hours, which is cool. So that, goes back to, what's going to happen with the cryptocurrency market. I think that it's important here, guys, that you have to make a decision and be true to your heart, but be open to changing your mind if what you think is going to happen becomes invalidated. So we had a gentleman named Crypto Addict on the channel yesterday that really believes that we might be headed into a long-term bear market. And we know we had a little bit of discussion about that. Now, I'm on the other side of that. I believe we're still in for some good times over the rest of this year and into 2026. But I could be right. He could be right. Both of us got to be men enough to admit it if we become wrong. And so in his case, if he is playing a bullish scenario, then he probably didn't go in like I did yesterday and place some longs on Avalanche and Link. He should short the market if he really believes the market is going to go lower and lower and that we're in a longer term bear. Me, on the other hand, believing that we're in for some positive and in for some upside, I'm going to place some longs. But once again, the most important part is that we stay connected. Don't disengage. Right now, one of the challenges is staying engaged and really being on top of the market. It's so easy right now to be like, man, I'm done with crypto. I'm going to go hibernate for a few months. Wake me up in 2026 and we'll check it back out again. I made that mistake back in 2023, guys. In 2023, I disengaged from crypto. If you go back, you'll see there was a span in 2023 where I went months and months and months without making a video. I disengaged from crypto. I didn't buy any crypto. I wasn't paying attention. And for those of you that remember, back in somewhere around October of 2023, I believe it was when Bitcoin started making waves. So Bitcoin was all the way down at like 17 grand. And all of a sudden, Bitcoin jumped up to about 25,000. And I was disengaged. And I saw the fact that Bitcoin was at 25. Like I wasn't totally my head in the sand. I saw that Bitcoin was up to 25. Guess what I said? Said, well, it isn't going to last. You know, we're going to be in a bear market. Bitcoin doesn't have until April of 2024. Never before in the history of Bitcoin has it ever made any spectacular moves before the halving. It's always after the halving. So I didn't pay any attention to it. I would have bet big money that Bitcoin was going to drop from 25 back down. But guess what? All of a sudden, Bitcoin was 40,000. Now I knew for sure. I would have bet everything I owned that it was one of those fake outs and it was going to come back down. I'll never forget in 2018 and 19 and 20, it probably at least 20, 30 times that my dad and I got excited. Bitcoin was starting to head up. We thought all our dreams were going to come true. We were finally going to get the pump that we expected for a long time. And then it would crash back down. And it wasn't until, late 20 going into 21 that we got the real bull market. But there was many times in 18, 19, and 20 that we got faked out. That's what I thought was happening again. When it was at 40, I was the most pessimistic person you ever seen in your life about it going back down. By that time, I want to say it was probably January or February of 2024 when it was 40. Well, then I did something smart. I re-engaged my YouTube channel. And even though I thought it was going to go from 40 back down, I got Crypto Lifer Sammy Price, Cowboys of Crypto, and Piper Academy, and I want to say it was Crux Crypto. I got 4 guests on my channel, and we did a Bitcoin price prediction video, and all 4 of them predicted that we were going to hit a new all-time high with Bitcoin in the next fairly near future, like 2 weeks to a month, way before the halving ever happened. And that kind of woke me up out of my shell. But guess what, guys? I mean, these are some of the things that I miss. So let's, if we go to AI Tech, which is a Solidus, if we go back here, I don't know if a year is enough or not. Let's see. So if we go back here a year, so this shows the peak. So on November of, this is 2024, so we need to go back further. Let's see what happens. So here we go. So you can see here, guys, back here in December, October. So October, this token was 1.3 cents. By the time March rolled around, when it's just right about when I did that video with those guys, was probably right in the middle of March. This thing was, a 40-cent token. So because I disengaged back here, I wasn't paying any attention. I guarantee you that some guys like Crypto Lifer, Sammy Price, and some of the YouTubers out there that didn't disengage were talking about this token. Another token that I missed a huge opportunity on because I was disengaged was Aerodrome Finance. If you go out to the max here, we go back here, look at this. Back in October of 2023, we're talking, this was a 2-cent token on October 16th. By the time I re-engaged in crypto in March, here we go, here's March, it was 97 cents. It had already done almost a 50x. And then it went all the way up here to a couple of dollars. And guess what? The first time I bought Aerodrome was at probably about $1.50 or so. And so my point is, guys, right now, when crypto's boring, we're going to potentially get this sideways, this sideways chop. We're going to stay in this, this is if we go back out here, though, for like the 1 month, you can see on the 1 month, if we go back over here, so just like the last few weeks, we've been in this channel from around 90-ish down to, 82. We might see this chop for a little bit longer. My point is, don't disengage. Stay on top of the market. And so rather than give you any type of specific, go buy this, go buy that, this is going to be the next token that pumps, I really want you guys to kind of figure that out a little bit on your own. What tokens do you believe in? And why do you believe in them? And what makes you think that they're going to do well over the next handful of months? Create your own beliefs, create your own game plan, and then go out and execute on it. But once again, be willing to pivot. If you think that we're going to go up and we're going to be in a bull market and things are going to be much better over the next 6 months, plan your strategy towards that, but be willing to change your mind if what we're thinking gets invalidated. And likewise, if you're on the bear side of things, you think we're headed down to 60, 70,000, maybe even 40 or $50,000 Bitcoin, and that, the rest of this year, 26 and 27 and 28 are going to be bad bear market years, then create your strategy. Start setting money aside. Decide at what level you want to start buying back in, and then have the conviction to stick with it unless it gets invalidated. Like, guys, if you think we're in a bear market and then all of a sudden Bitcoin's 93, 95, 100, 105, at some point in time, you got to say to yourself, man, I guess I was wrong. Same thing for those of us that think it's going to head up, man. If Bitcoin goes down to, 80, 75, 70, 65, we got to, those of us that are positive and believe that we're in for some longer term excitement in the market, at some point in time, we got to pretty much agree that we were wrong. So that's a couple of the best pieces of advice I can, give you, is really go with your heart, go with your gut. Do what you believe so that you can take full responsibility for your results. And I tell you, anytime I have depended on somebody else for my results, I always end up getting let down. We're human. We're people. There's a lot of influencers out there that want to say whatever's going to get them the most views. They want to say whatever is going to make them the most money. And as an influencer, I have to be very, very careful on a daily basis to not say what is going to be best for me, but what is going to hopefully be best for all of you. It's a constant struggle. We're getting hit up. I got hit up today about, a project that wanted me to do a live stream AMA. And I looked at the project, and man, it would have been cool to get paid to do this AMA, but it just wasn't a project that I could get behind, and I didn't want to share it with you guys, so I didn't. I turned them down. But sometimes, especially if you need the money, you got bills due, life is happening, it's pretty easy as an influencer to take the money. And so there's a lot of great influencers out there, but at the same time, take it with, a grain of salt. There's an influencer out there right now that is really promoting, Poly Market, the gambling platform, really, really, really hard. And I have a tough time believing that he's doing that because he believes that that is the best thing for his community. I really like this young man, but that has kind of turned me off because, in my opinion, the only reason he's promoting it is they're obviously paying him some pretty good money to promote this site. And let's face it, guys, 99% of us are going to lose money betting sports. If we try to bet sports on a regular basis, we're going to lose money at it. And not only that, but it could become a pretty bad addiction. It's gambling has ruined a ton of people's lives. So it's one of those things that I would have a tough time promoting it, especially in my opinion, the way that he's promoting it. I've never seen him have a disclaimer talking about, if you have a gambling problem, stay away from this. If you have a tendency to, go off the deep end doing things like this, then stay away from it. That this is, can be addicting. He's never really given any disclaimers. And then he's posting like these great big huge wins. In my opinion, there's no way this guy is betting enough money to win, $20,000 on a game. There's no way this guy is betting legit money, in my opinion. It's kind of like when I had one of these exchanges come to me and they offered to give me $100,000 to trade with, because they said your viewers are going to get more excited about $100,000 trades than they are your $100 trades. But it was fake money. So if I did this trading with the 100 grand, it was fake. So whether I won or lost, it didn't matter. Like, it was fake money. But you guys wouldn't have known that. So here I am, a big baller, throwing $10,000 longs in. And when they hit, I'm turning 10 grand into 100 grand. And I'm giving you guys my referral links. And you guys think I'm absolutely crushing it. And it's all fake. And my point is I don't know which influencers are doing that and which aren't. But just take influencers, including me, with a grain of salt. And do your own due diligence. Become good at doing the research and understanding the tokenomics and understanding what makes a good investment in crypto, so that you can see through all of the propaganda and all of the baloney and see through the influencers that are just promoting something to make some money. And you can find the good influencers, and then when they do come out with some good picks, you have the skills to evaluate these projects aside of what they are saying and come up with good decisions. Because I promise you, if you never really educate yourself in the cryptocurrency space and become proficient at studying these projects and understanding the tokenomics and some of the things behind the scenes that make these good investments, and you're just listening to crypto influencers tell you what the new hottest coin is, and you listen to me and I say, hey, this is an awesome token, you just go buy it, and then I'm done with my live stream, so you listen to somebody else here in a couple of hours and they talk about this token and you go buy it, and that's how you base your investing strategy. You're going to have a tough time finding good projects that are actually real viable long-term projects that you can put your heart and soul and your hard-earned money behind. And then once again, guys, I'm going to click off of here. I want you guys to hear this. Even if you get lucky and you're following the right influencers and you kind of take their word for a few things and you find some winning tokens and you make some substantial money, guess what you didn't do? You didn't become the person that can handle the money. And then what are you going to do when there's some tough times? And what I mean by that is, all of you have probably heard a lot of successful people say, hey, if you could take everything I own away from me, take all the houses, take all the cars, take all my money, take everything I own away from me, and I'll get it all back in the next couple 2 to 5 years. And I never understood how true that statement was until I went through my own challenges back in 21, mostly round tripping a lot of the gains that I had made. But guess what couldn't be taken away from me? My skills, what I had learned, the thousands of hours of YouTube videos that I watched educating myself, understanding tokenomics, understanding vesting schedules, understanding what makes a good team, and so on and so forth. None of that stuff could be taken away from me. And so I have the ability to rebuild it, and I am rebuilding it, and I'm right on the verge of getting back to where I was in 2021. But that's because I did the work. So if you just take influencers' words for tokens and you just go buy tokens that other people are talking about without understanding why you're buying them, what's going to happen is you're going to make some money, probably you're going to get lucky at some point in time. You're going to pick a couple of good tokens. You're going to win. You're going to have a big windfall of money. But then, especially if it's the first time you've ever had money, you're going to figure out ways to spend it on life, buying stuff. And then inevitably, there's going to be some kind of a bear market. And maybe you didn't cash out as much as you thought you should have because you didn't want to, you had $1 million, but you're sure it's going to 2, so you didn't want to sell too much. My point is, if you go from, meager means, if you will, or go from an average lifestyle of $100,000 a year, $50,000 a year to having $1 million, and then you go all the way back to zero, you want to have accumulated skills in that process to where you can get back to $1 million. They say the average multimillionaire has been broke 3 times in their life. Took 3 times of getting into the millions of dollars and then losing it all before they figured out how to keep it. But there's a lot of people that get into that $1 million, $2, $3 million range that end up losing it and never, ever do it again. And most of the time, it's because they got lucky and they didn't learn any skills in the process of making that money. They just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and they got lucky, and they can't replicate what they did. They can't replicate that success that they had. You don't want to be one of those people. You want to be one of those people where if tomorrow the 2 or 3 or 10 YouTubers that you love the most all ended up in a tragic plane accident, they're all flying into Dubai for an event, and they all ended up, their plane crashed and they were wiped out, that you wouldn't skip a beat. That because you learned everything that they were teaching rather than just taking their advice and saying, hey, go buy this token, you actually could go on and become a successful cryptocurrency investor if you never watched another YouTuber again. So with that, guys, Bitcoin is, did he say is up over 90? Bitcoin is up over 90 all of a sudden. Let me see here. This is 889,989. So when Dave said that, it probably had just bounced up over 10 grand or up over 90 grand, but it's there close. Man, I hope that keeps going. I do have about $1,000 worth of newly acquired Bitcoin. I think I got it at around 86. Got $1,000 worth of Bitcoin at 86, because one of the things that I've learned in my journey is that I didn't have enough Bitcoin. And I was focusing on all of these tokens, these shiny objects that had the ability to 25, 50, 100, 200, 500,000x. And I still do that a lot. But I also realized that, like gold and silver, Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. It's hard money. It's a real asset. And that I needed to start accumulating Bitcoin, even if it was only, like if I have $1,000 to invest, maybe I take $750 of that and put it into all of the lower cap gems and different stuff. But I take a couple $100, $250 and buy a little bit of Bitcoin. And my goal is to hopefully never need to sell the Bitcoin, to just let it accumulate, because Bitcoin's going to be $1 million. Bitcoin's going to be 3, 5, 10, $15 million over the next 10, 15 years. And I want to have a piece of that. And for most of my crypto career, I didn't like Bitcoin because it just didn't appreciate enough for me. I wanted to buy Polygon at 3 cents and then watch it go to $3. And I still want to do that, but I also realized that had I bought more Bitcoin along the way, it would have, what's the word I'm looking for? It would have leveled out the journey. It would have kept the journey from being quite as bumpy as it's been, because, you know, Bitcoin's been a pretty, you know, hard, you know, like I was buying Bitcoin, could have bought Bitcoin way back when it was, you know, 3,500. I was in the market back in 2020. And in fact, I did buy, at one point in time in my life, I bought one Bitcoin. I bought it when it was about $8,500 back in, oh boy, I guess it was probably around August or so of 2019. I bought a Bitcoin for about 85, 88, under $9,000. But guess what I did? Over the course of the next 6, 7, 8 months, I would find a token that I wanted, and I would be in a position where I didn't have any cash. So all of a sudden, that $8,800 worth of Bitcoin became 8,000 because I'd sell off 800 of it. And long story short, by the time Bitcoin ran from, you know, its low to the $64,000 in May of 2021, I didn't own any of that Bitcoin anymore. So if I still owned that one Bitcoin, most people don't own one Bitcoin, but I had one Bitcoin in my possession, and I ended up selling it off to buy a bunch of other stuff. And I wish I still had that Bitcoin, even though that $8,500 made me a lot of money in 2021 with some of the other things that I did. I've always regretted that I didn't just keep that Bitcoin and hold it basically for, you know, forever. So anyways, guys, I'm going to shut up. I love you. Luckily, you know, like I told you, it was going to be a short live stream. It's only 11:17. And so, guys, if you have some time, please go check this video out. I know I talked for a long time. You guys, your YouTube time might be up. Put this on your radar. Go click on this link, pull it up, subscribe to his channel, and maybe just watch even the first 10, 11 minutes of this video. And then as you have time, the rest of your day, the rest of this Thanksgiving weekend, go watch this Myron Golden video, because I believe that the things he's going to teach you in that 54 minutes are 10 times as powerful as the things that I've been teaching you for the last, you know, hour and 15 minutes. So with that, once again, happy Thanksgiving to all of you that are celebrating Thanksgiving. Once again, I love you. I hope you guys have just an absolutely amazing time with your friends, family, and loved ones tomorrow. And I can't wait to see you again next Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for the Crypto Monday Mindset Mastery live stream. In between, have a good one. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.